short time. As you know, the topic for today's webinar is AI in healthcare and retail. The agenda for this webinar would be a very quick introduction to where I come from, that is NVIDIA. What is the role of NVIDIA in AI and deep learning, followed by a lot of interesting case studies in AI in healthcare, and finally also in retail. We'll go into very interesting case studies there. Just a quick introduction to NVIDIA. NVIDIA started its journey, it invented the GPUs in 1999, and with the revolution of computer shaders, a lot of creativity was unleashed, and as you can see today, games are a lot realistic as compared to they were earlier. And the same, a lot of rendering techniques were also used for professional graphics and design. And finally, NVIDIA GPUs was proven to be very much useful and really performant for jobs in high performance computing, and whether it is astrophysics or whether it is CFD domain. And if you see today's top supercomputers at this time, 50% of the flops of the top 500 supercomputers are kind of being powered by GPUs as well. And we are going to talk about the next thing, which has become where GPUs have become the de facto standard, which is AI, where deep learning and machine learning plays an important role. And we'll be looking about their case studies in healthcare and as well as in retail. And why GPUs are really popular, this slide kind of summarizes this part. People who are in this processor industry would understand related to Moore's law and how with the new processors, every CPU processor, you were getting a lot of good performance year on year, which kind of flattened out. As you can see in this curve, every single thread performance kind of flattened out, and you started getting only lesser than 50%, which is around 1.1x performance per year. But if you can see, GPU computing has been year on year giving 1.5x performance per year. So it kind of gives you a path forward where you need more and more compute. And the second most important thing which you see on the left side of the graph is from bottom up to top to bottom. The only reason why GPU computing exists is basically because of parallel computing, whether it is graphics or whether it is high performance computing or whether it is deep learning. The hardware stack and software stack are tightly coupled to each other to provide really good speeders in this domain of parallel computation. And that's why GPU computing is providing such wonders in all these domains. And the AI revolution, basically what is the role there and why we are talking about it today, is because of three aspects. The first one is big data. As you can see, there is a lot of data which is available nowadays, which is being pumped in. Like you can see, there are almost 300 hours of videos which are uploaded every minute. So there is availability of data on which you can actually train your networks. The second thing which has happened is, when you have so much of data, you need more processing power, and that's what GPUs actually provided. In the earlier days, it was very difficult to actually come out with new algorithms or come out to process on so much of data, and which is the new fuel basically, and get something out of it. GPUs actually provided a new way of doing computation, and it solved a lot of problems with respect to time. As soon as you were able to do it in fast time, people started coming out with new algorithms, and they started coming out with new kinds of networks. Every day there are new networks which are published online, and these were the three aspects because of which we are talking about the AI revolution. Cases like loss prevention, stock out reduction, store analytics, autonomous shopping, and security. And the stores are going to have amount of cameras, and they will be running all these use cases in parallel. And there will be your edge systems like the Jetson board that we talked about some time back, along with the analytics server, which is going to do some other kinds of analytics. To give an example, NVIDIA recently announced something called as a Jetson Nano, and this is like this is broken almost all the records which existed at AI at the edge. If you look at it, has 128 CUDA cores, it has 4 CPU cores, ARM cores, it has 4 GB of memory, and also it's within the range of 5 watts and 10 watts, right? And if I look at Jetson Nano, these are some of the benchmarks which exist, and you can see the YOLO performance or Inception or Restaurant performance as compared to an edge device like a Raspberry Pi. It is almost much more performant within the same power budget as compared to any other available solution there, right? So just to show you a quick demo of what all things can be done on a simple device like this on a Jetson Nano at watt speed, you can see all these things happening. And that's what is the power of a small device which is in 5 watts and 10 watts range, which is AI on the edge device that you can see. Right. So it basically comes in the whole software stack, which has your Jetson supercomputer, which is at the edge, and we have your CUDA, which is the underlying thing which is making use of your GPU. It has the SDK, which has deep learning, computer vision, it has graphics, multimedia, and sensor support. And then over that, you have different modules like depth estimation, object detection, pose estimation, gesture recognition, and a lot more things. And your developer environment is kind of also simplified by making use of Eclipse, which is the Insight developer tool here. Right. So this is another way of showing it with respect to the overall stack that you have. You have your container environment, which is NGC, NVIDIA GPU Cloud, which has all this container stack with respect to the Docker, which is called as NV Docker. And you have all these things being put onto a Docker container so that you can pull them and start making use of it. Different ISPs are actually providing solutions making use of this software stack that we talked about. So this is the overall ecosystem. I need not show you all these things. So this is how your developer kit comes like, and it is available from nvidia.com and from the distributors worldwide. And that is what I basically had for you with respect to the use case of AI in healthcare and industry. And what I would like to do now is to see and look at some of the questions which have come and answer them in the Q&A window. So one of the questions that we have is, can we have this presentation after the webinar? Yes, you will get this presentation after the webinar. Whoever has attended ideally should get this presentation. What are the others? So if you have any questions, guys, you can ask it right away. One of the questions which has come is with respect to where are all these containers available. So the answer to that, if you would have seen in the slide deck where I was showing you Clara SDK, all these containers are available in a registry which is called as NVIDIA GPU Cloud. So you can just go to www.ngc.com and download all these containers for free if you have an NVIDIA GPU card with you, and start executing on that. So this was another question which was there. Yeah. So it's ngc.nvidia.com. Just to correct it, it is www.ngc.nvidia.com. So there is another question with respect to how do we, in case we are a startup, how can we collaborate with NVIDIA and look at these use cases in more details? What else? Okay, so people who have this particular question, what I would, so we have, NVIDIA has something called as NVIDIA Inception program, where we work with different startups who are working in this particular field. We help them at multiple levels, including giving technical details, sometimes also giving hardware support to them. Another very key thing that we do is we also do a lot of marketing for them and expose them to a larger community in general. So in case you are interested, you can very well write mail to me, and I would be more than happy to connect you to the Inception partners, or you can get connected to me on LinkedIn. I am kind of very fast on getting connected on LinkedIn. So you can just search for Bharat Kumar Sharma and you can get connected to me, or you can search in Google NVIDIA Inception program and you will be able to see how to apply for this Inception program. So this is another question that I had from the participants. So most of the other questions are kind of very similar. So yes, so most of the other questions are kind of similar. If um, you have any other question, this is the time to put it on the window so that we can answer it right away. So another question is, do we have Indian partner for $99 CPU? I think what you are asking is basically for Jetson Nano. So you can just go to NVIDIA website itself, which is on the NVIDIA India website. Please don't go to NVIDIA global website. You can go to nvidia.in, which is NVIDIA India website, and you will see it. You can buy it directly from there, and it will be in rupees and not in dollars. And it would be similar to the pricing that you have mentioned. So you can directly go to, sometimes it is out of stock because it is a hot cake and people buy it in bulk. So there are some restrictions with respect to how many nanos you can buy in one shot. So I'm not sure what is it currently. I think the maximum is around 16. So another very question which is kind of asked multiple times, which is the best NVIDIA card suitable for deep learning models on a tiny budget? So now this is very subjective question. So generally, if you want to just start working on deep learning, and if you're just trying to learn and you're not concerned about a lot of performance in the sense the best performance, or you're not going across different GPUs, you can look at our Titan cards, or you can also look at our GeForce cards like 1080 or 1080 Ti. So our Titan cards are the best cards, which are much more cheaper as compared to the Tesla cards V100 that we have. And even the Titan card doesn't fit your budget. You can actually look at lower end cards like 1080 or 1080 Ti, which are also kind of low budget and can be used, which has the capability of doing AI as well. For inferencing, I think anyhow I have already given the answer. So Jetson is our solution for that. Jetson Nano is something which has become really, really popular. So another question is with respect to the budget, but looking at inferencing side in a production environment. So the solution there is basically a T4 card. So T4 is our inference engine which goes into a production environment and which is heavily deployed also in clouds. So you can use it either Access Cloud or how about 2080 Ti? Can we get some insight about this? Yeah, so as I said, so 2080 Ti is the next version of 1080 Ti, which is much more powerful as compared to 1080 Ti. So yeah, 2080 Ti is also quite good. I specifically answered this question from the point of view of lower budget. So 1080 Ti would be like entry level. Then you can look at 2080 Ti and then followed by Titan cards, which will be the best and for in a desktop like environment.